Hi, my name is Cheryl Verda. I'm the co-founder and head of school of Cajal Academy. I'm really excited today to share with you a showcase that we've got set up here, highlighting some of the curriculum that our students did throughout the year here at Cajal Academy. Now, we're a wall-to-wall project-based learning school. What that means is that all of our curriculum is developed through project-based learning units. Typically speaking, our project-based learning can go on 2 to 3 months, if you can imagine that. They're really deep dives that pull together content from across math, science, social studies, language arts, visual arts, and now we're adding a whole lot more STEAM units as well, including robotics, coding, music, theater. We're really excited about some of the new offerings coming to Cajal. Today, though, I'm going to give you a taste of some of the smaller bits of project-based learning that we do here at Cajal as part of our Workshop Wednesday series. Now, this is a series that we started over the course of this spring of 2025 that we're going to be continuing over the next school year. In our Workshop Wednesdays, this is a 3-hour sprint, not a 3-month deep dive. And the whole purpose of these projects is to give more revolutions, if you will, on the executive function skill building that happens at the core of the way that we approach project-based learning here at Cajal Academy. Built into this is also social skill development, because a really essential skill for students who have these naturally innovative ways of seeing the world, as the students we work with here at Cajal Academy do, is having the skills that are required to break down that big juicy idea, turn it into reality, explain it to others, get others to want to follow your vision, and be able to do the self-care skills that go into stepping away from perfectionism, for instance, figuring out how to scope a project within the time allocated. For our currently enrolled students, these Workshop Wednesdays provide leadership opportunities. In fact, right here we have a project that was done, it was entirely developed, researched, and delivered end-to-end by one of our currently enrolled students. In our Workshop Wednesdays, though, we also open up our school to members of the community whose children may be a good fit for the cohort that we work with here at Cajal, but perhaps they're in a homeschooling environment or they're in a school that does not have enrichment opportunities for gifted learners. So those students can enroll with us on this bi-weekly basis for the fall of 2025 to be part of these Workshop Wednesdays experiences. So what we thought would be fun to do today, while we've got this wonderful showcase set up, is to introduce you to some of our teachers. And this is part of what's great for us with these Workshop Wednesdays, is the variety that we're able to bring in for our students. So in this one, I'm going to introduce you to Faith Yarush, who is our ELA teacher here at Cajal. And Faith, can you tell us a little bit about this project that you've got here? We'll start with what the driving question was, if you would.
Sure. So the driving question for this project was, how can we create a fashion garment that we could wear in spring using only upcycled materials? So this was a really fun project that we did. All of them were fun, but this was a little break from our science-based. So this was mainly a visual arts based project, also with a focus on sustainability as well, and a lot of creative thinking went into this. For this project, for the group of students that we had for this project here, we really thought it best to have a really collaborative project that included the teachers directly. So if you look at some of these pictures here, you can see some of our students being very innovative with the variety of materials that they were given. A variety of materials, different textures, different items that we've kind of found, in various different places. We've got some feathers, some foam blocks, we've got a bunch of erasers, different fabrics, and they really put their creativity to use. If you look over here, we've got a sample of a finished evening gown with our PT, Blake. So it was really a great project.
Yeah, so this is a fantastic example, as Faith is bringing out, of how we can use our project-based learning to bring a community together. So sometimes we're going to be, every day when we do our Workshop Wednesdays, we're going to be meeting kids sometimes for the first time, and we're going to be quickly assessing, what is your comfort level? Are you going to be ready to jump in and truly collaborate with somebody on coming up with something totally new? Or are you going to need a little bit more of an introduction and a segue on that? And then on the fly, in real time, we'll make adjustments as a team. This is part of our expertise here at Cajal, in being able to say, okay, well, for this group of kids, we're going to be able to bring them together as a community, but that's going to be better done with a larger group and interspersing the teachers in, or these kids are ready to go in small groups. So let me give you an example of the second. Coming on over here, this is Nidhi Vishnoi. Nidhi is our life sciences teacher and also our clinical project manager here at Cajal Academy. So she's deeply embedded in the innovation work that we're doing here to develop new neuroscience-based educational approaches. So Nidhi, can you tell them about our water filtration project and how we utilize teams and groups within that project?
Sure. So the driving question was how we can design and build a homemade water filter using everyday materials to produce the cleanest possible water. So what we did was we divided the cohort into different groups and then provided them with a range of different kinds of materials, starting from charcoal to sand to gravel, even coffee filters. And then we also provided them a template where they would basically layer them up based on their understanding, and then we provided them with a sensor that would detect the water quality. So the first step was to make dirty water, which had basically organic, inorganic impurities on top of like big and small gravels, and then we provided them with that as well. So their work was to develop a design, brainstorm it, layer the different materials up, and then test the quality of filtered water using their filter, and then revise from that design or that prototype. And so it was an iterative cycle of several designs, and we basically used the engineering design process, covered a lot of engineering standards as well as how water cycles through the earth. And
yes, wonderful. And that's an excellent point. So a big part of what we're doing here when we're developing these projects, whether we're talking about our mini projects, or we're talking about our broad scope projects that will go on, as I said, for a couple of months over the course of the school year, in both cases, everything we do here starts with the Connecticut State Curriculum Standards and the Next Generation Science Standards, both in terms of the science and the engineering standards. So that is everything that you're seeing here. This is just a more fun way of engaging with those standards and demonstrating your mastery. It actually requires more mastery than is the case under a traditional learning approach. Because here, in addition to learning that curriculum, you now need to apply it to some novel solution set. Even here within our workshop Wednesdays, that we follow the same methodology that we do for all of our projects. And that is that we start with giving a driving question that the kids are going to need to master the designated curriculum in order to answer. And then we throw them right into doing an obstacle course. And you can see actually some of the need to knows up here. So what we're doing is we're having to go on an obstacle course set up by our physical therapists, gets everybody moving. We get all of the benefits of neuro research in the area of embodied cognition, which shows that when you pair motor and sensory input with learning, you increase learning retention and engagement. So we're tapping into that with these obstacle courses that go around this entire large space that we're in here, and then all the way into our obstacle course classroom. And yes, we actually have an obstacle course classroom here. So once the kids come around to the station over here, they'll typically encounter me with a Sharpie and a bunch of sticky notes. And they need to give me questions. What do I need to know in order to answer this question? So this is a way that we're right off the bat getting those kids working as a team. Even if these kids are brand new to our space, they don't even know anybody, that gives them a way to hook in with the other kids, and we're hooking their analytical thinking process into the project from the get-go before we give them any curriculum. So it's a really important part of the methodology because this is all about developing up those critical thinking skills. So they're going to give us examples or questions that they would need to know in order to answer this question. So for instance, on this example, the driving question was, how can we create a model showing how the Earth's magnetic field protects life on Earth, how the magnetic field functions, and its importance? So you got 3 hours. That's a lot. You have to learn all that content, and you also have to turn that around into developing an actual physical model. And you can see some of the examples here on this side of the table of the models that were developed. And our goal here is in part to help the kids get past perfectionism, which is going to be a real issue with gifted learners in particular. So instead, we're emphasizing to them, listen, we're going to focus on the question of process. We're going to focus on how can I give a representation. It doesn't have to be the perfect representation. We're only giving you 3 hours, right? So this process is the same process, whether we're talking about one of our large scope projects or a small one. Once they have identified what they need to know, we go through those together as a group so they can hear everybody else's thinkings, and then they go into classes. And those classes are taught by our regular academic year teachers who will have developed in advance curriculum that is important to answering this driving question. And then they would come together to integrate that material and integrate that instruction and create some new tangible product as an outcome. It could be a diagram. We've created bionic hands out of cardboard and drinking straws. We've created a tower holding up a marshmallow for 15 seconds that meets to NASA communication towers, matches to how those would be made. Here we have a project on how we can upcycle used old wheeled items such as scooters and strollers to design and build a new functional product that solves a real world problem in our school or community. Several of these, including this project right here, were actually developed by our students, giving them an opportunity to explore deeper. So this is just a quick introduction to what we do here in our Workshop Wednesdays series. I hope you'll stay tuned, log in, join our newsletter so that you will hear about opportunities to register and sign up to be part of our workshops. We do those as a series where each one is standalone. That gives more families the opportunity to participate. If you want to come for an afternoon or you want to come for the whole series, we have multiple different ways you can engage. And that is by application, but you can access the application on our website as well. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we hope you'll stay tuned here on Call Academy's YouTube channel.